Dear viewers, it is pleasure to be with you. I myself, Dr. Suryawanshi Parameshwar Lakshman Rao, Head Department of English, Mauli Mahavidyalay Wadala, Taluka North Solapur, District Solapur. Today I am going to share with you a famous novel by George Orwell. The novel is Animal Farm. In this novel, he has criticized the human nature. He has criticized the mentality of human being, which is always ready to exploit the others, which is always ready to be at the highest position by exploiting others, by crushing others. Everybody wants to amass a lot of power in his hand, and that is what clearly and explicitly told in this novel by George Orwell. If we read the novel, then we can understand that this novel is an allegory. What does mean by allegory? Allegory means it is a story in which specific characters and situation is created for other situation and characters. That is an important thing. It is also considered a political satire. The setting of the novel is dystopia. What does mean by dystopia? Dystopia is an imagined world which is far worse than the world we are living in. It is an opposite word for utopia. And the third important thing about this novel is that we find an important line in the novel that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the others. This is an important line in this novel. As we proceed in the novel, that the novelist says that those in the power usually manipulates the language to the benefits of themselves. We feel that these people are trying to use the language for the benefit of the society, for the welfare of the society, for the welfare of the humanity. But the situation is not like that. They are always busy in taking and exploiting that language for their own benefit. And because of that, we are being fooled always by such leaders. The same thing happens in the novel, that the three pigs, that Napoleon, Snowball and Squealer, we think that they are very caring. They always think of the other animals, but the real situation is that they are not thinking of the others. They always think of themselves, and that is clearly mentioned. And the course of the novel we proceed, we can understand how they are fooling rest of the animals by awarding special privilege to themselves. That is clearly indicated in the novel as we proceed. The novel starts at the time of evening. As the novel starts at the time of evening, we find that Mr. Jones is not taking care of his animal. His animals are there in manure farm, and that manure farm is facing a hard time. Consequently, the animals are not getting enough food for eating, and therefore the master also has become reckless. He is not taking care of his all animals. He is not giving enough food, as he is going through the bad patch of his life, as he is drinking a lot. Because of that, he is totally ignorant of the animals that are there in animal farm, and therefore the old major, the most senior pig in the manure farm, has called a meeting, and he has told to the rest of the animals that he is going to meet. He is going to meet them at late midnight, and he is going to share his dream with the rest of the animals. And he tells them, while sharing his dream, he tells that the world of animal can be very beautiful if there are no human beings. Whatever animals have to suffer, it is just because of the human being. Once the human beings are not there on this planet to rule the animal, then the world of animal will be very interesting and very beautiful. That is what old major tells. He says that they should take the charge of their own destiny in their own hand, rebelling against the human beings. If they rebel against the human being, then definitely their life will be worth living on this planet. Otherwise, the life is going to be very difficult on this planet. And therefore, he says, or he inspires to the rest of the animals, that they must rebel against their master, Mr. Jones. And once they rebel against their master, Mr. Jones, then they will enjoy their life till they are not going to enjoy their life if they are being ruled by the human being. That is what he says. And he further says that soon he is going to die. So it is their duty that they should get ready to rebel against their master. And when he shares his dream, at that time, what happens at the end of the meeting, they sing a song, The Beasts of England. When the animals were singing the song, at that time, what happened? He got up from his sleep and he saw that some commotion is there, some noise is there. When he looked up through the window, at that time he found that all animals are there and they are making some songs, they are making some noise. They had apprehended opportunity, therefore they break into the storehouse of the fodder. They went there, they had a lot of fodder, and when they had a lot of fodder, at that time Mr. Jones along with his men came there and started weeping mercilessly to the animals. At that time, animals didn't give in to the beating and they didn't succumb to the pressure of that Mr. Jones, but contradictory started hitting to Mr. Jones and his men, and the result was that the animals chased Mr. Jones and his men off the farm. When this situation happened, at that time animals became very happy. They had succeeded in chasing off their master. It is decided as Napoleon, Squealer and Snowball are considered the intelligent animals, so they will lead this animal farm, and under their supervision every animal will work. The pigs milk the cow, and when rest of the animals goes to do the harvesting in the farm, at that time what happened? They came back after working for a lot of time. They came back, and when they came back, they found that the milk was mysteriously disappeared. When the milk was mysteriously disappeared, the rest of the animals were unable to understand what exactly has happened to the milk, where exactly the milk has gone. But Squealer was there, that he was always trying to normalize the situation, saying that whatever Snowball and Napoleon will do, they will do in the interest of the animal farm. That is what Squealer says. Snowball forms the 7 commandments in order to codify the conduct of the animals on the manure farm. And the first thing that they have done is that they have changed the name of manure farm to animal farm. And it is considered that all animals will follow these 7 commandments. Nobody will violate these 7 commandments. And if anybody violates these 7 commandments, then he will be punished or he will be penalized. That is unanimously decided. And accordingly, all animals are working like that. The first commandment is that 4 legs are good, 2 legs are bad. The second commandment is that all that goes on 4 legs and has a wing is a friend. And the third commandment is that no animal shall drink alcohol. Fourth commandment is that no animal shall wear the clothes. Commandment number 5 is that no animal shall sleep in the bed. Commandment number 6 is that no animal shall kill other animal. And commandment number 7, which is very, very important, is that all animals are equal. These 7 commandments are painted on the wall by Snowball. And according to all these 7 commandments, that all animals should behave, they should not violate these 7 commandments. But since all animals are animals and they find it very difficult to remember all these 7 commandments, they forget them at times. When they forget them at times, other animals try to read them the same commandments for the others. But even then, they find it very difficult to remember all the 7 commandments. And we can say that code of conduct is ready, and accordingly they should behave as per that 7 commandments. It is decided that they shall meet on every Sunday to decide what to do in the animal farm, and the duties will be assigned in the meeting, and therefore all animals should come for the meeting on Sunday. It is decided like that. And in the meeting, Snowball and Napoleon, they debate various topics, but while debating various topics, they don't get agree with each other. Always Napoleon contradict with Snowball. Whatever proposal Snowball comes with, Napoleon is there to contradict that proposal, and in this way, that they are trying to be the leader of that animal farm. Napoleon try his hard to be the to emerge as the leader of that animal farm. Equally, Snowball also tries to emerge as the leader of that animal farm. Though that is the case that all animals are working sincerely and honestly on the animal farm, and they have completed the harvest before Mr. Jones used to complete. Though the instruments they are not suited to main, they find it difficult to work with that, but they have completed the harvesting well in advance, and therefore all are very happy. They are enjoying their stay in the animal farm and they are enjoying their life in the animal farm. But what happens one day, after some time, Mr. Jones along with his men come to animal farm to take that manure farm. But what happens, Snowball leads from the first, and he, along with all animals, succeeds in chasing off Mr. Jones and his men out of the farm for the second time. When he succeeds in chasing off Mr. Jones out of the animal farm, naturally he is gathering the lot of weightage in that animal farm and he is emerging as the leader of that animal farm. But this thing is not liked to Napoleon, and he also equally tried to dominate rest of the animals, and they are trying to be the leader of that animal farm. The situation is such, the days are going by, animals are working very hard. Boxer, who is very honest, he has decided to work harder and harder and harder every day, and he is continuously working without thinking of the rest of the animals. But one day, Mr. Snowball proposes a plan for the construction of a windmill. When he proposes a plan of the construction of a windmill, he tries to justify his stand that he will produce the electricity in the animal farm, and consequently that will lessen the work hours of the animals, and so that they will get enough food and the burden of the work will be lessened. That is the idea of Mr. Snowball behind construction of the windmill. But that idea is not liked and accepted by Napoleon, and he opposes that idea of the construction of windmill, and he says that if all animals started working for the construction of the windmill, then they have to starve. Who is going to work in the field? Who is going to work in the farm? And that will bring the bad situation, that will bring the worst situation for the animal farm. So this idea is not acceptable. That is what Napoleon says. When Napoleon has rejected the idea of the construction of windmill, Napoleon and Snowball have decided to take the voting on the construction of windmill on the next Sunday. But before that, as I told you that Napoleon is very shrewd and he is very smart. He used his 9 dogs and he asked the dogs to attack on Snowball, so that Snowball ran for his life, and Snowball is exiled out of the farm by the 9 dogs of Napoleon. Now Napoleon has become the unopposed leader of that animal farm. As Snowball is not there in the animal farm, as he is chased off by the 9 dogs of Napoleon, now Napoleon has become a self-declared leader of that animal farm. Snowball has gone out of the farm. He doesn't appear for the next time in the animal farm. And as the days goes by, the animals are working. But all of a sudden, one day Napoleon tells rest of the animals that they are going to construct the windmill. It is a pleasant shock for the animals, and they happily get ready to work for the construction of the windmill. And the windmill is being constructed. They have started working for the construction of the windmill. They are living their life, they are enjoying their life. The Sundays, which was earlier a rest day, now has become a working day. All animals are working on that Sunday also, as they have a lot of work to do. And when the work of the windmill is half finished, the half finished windmill is toppled by the storm. But Napoleon says that it is Snowball who has toppled down the windmill out of enmity. Napoleon calls all animals and he says that though the windmill is collapsed, they will start reconstructing it again, and they have started reconstructing the windmill again. When they have almost completed the work of windmill, one day Napoleon announces that this animal farm is no more an animal farm. It will be called as a manure farm, and he says this manure farm is a republic farm, and these animal elect Napoleon as the president of that animal farm, and they call him, our leader is Napoleon, comrade Napoleon. That is what they always call him. After some time, some of the animals in the animal farm have died. Mr. Jones is also no more. That Napoleon thinks that he is now an opposed and self-declared leader of that animal farm. He can do what he wishes to, and he is doing what he is wishing for. That he is, meanwhile, he has started sleeping in the bed of Mr. Jones. He has started putting on the clothes. He has started behaving just like the human being, which is quite a strange thing. And all rest of the animals don't like all these things. But Napoleon, as he is the powerful and he is considered the leader of that animal farm, so he is doing what he wished for. Rest of the animals have understood that they are using the telephones, they have subscribed to the magazines, they are reading the newspapers, and they are doing everything as Mr. Jones used to do. That is, the pigs have started walking on the hind legs. As I told you that they are putting on the clothes of Mr. Jones just like the human being. They have started playing the poker. They are doing what Mr. Jones used to do. They have started drinking alcohol, and therefore all animals have started spying on them. But to the shock of the animals, they found that these pigs are dining with the human being. That was the greatest shock. All animals thought that now the pigs have become just like the human being, and they are doing just Mr. Jones used to do. They wanted that they should not be harassed, but they are being harassed by Napoleon. Napoleon is doing everything for the sake of his own. He is using all these animals for the benefit of his own, and therefore all animals have understood that Napoleon and Squealer have become just like the human being, and there is no point in carrying out and working for this Napoleon. That is what they have understood. And the important thing is that Napoleon is enjoying the best position in the animal farm. He is having a lot of privilege. He does what he wishes for. That is an important thing. I can say that these animals had a lot of expectation from the Napoleon, Snowball and Squealer, but they didn't fulfill the expectation. They were expecting that they will get a good life, but it is not like that. Only by the help of these animals, Napoleon, Squealer enjoyed the good status and good life. They did everything they wished for, and rest of the animals just kept working through their life. And the important thing is that the boxer who was working very hard for the development of this animal farm, one day he was so exhausted that he couldn't work. And when he couldn't work, at that time Squealer told rest of the animals that he is being sent to the veterinary doctor. But the fact was that he was sent to the slaughterhouse. After some time he told to the rest of the animals that doctor tried their hard, but boxer is not saved by them. That is how the false news is given in the animal farm. That is quite strange. The important thing is that those who worked very hard for the upliftment of the animal farm didn't get a proper award. Boxer should have been given the proper treatment, but without sending him to the veterinary doctor, directly he was sent to the slaughterhouse, and that is a shocking thing for the rest of the animals. In short, to conclude, I will say that when the pigs were playing the pokers with the human beings, that poker game is quite symbolic. It means that the totalitarian leaders always think the human being as the cards in their hand. They can wish whatever they want to do with their human being just like the cards. They can return the card or they can throw it out when the utility of that card, when the utility of that human being is finished. That is how the message of the novel is. We say that Napoleon has manipulated the language for the benefit of his own. That he always tried to show that he is very caring. He always cares for the rest of the animals. But the fact is not like that. He always think of his own self. He always think that how he will get good foods, how he will get apples, how he will get milks to eat and drink. All these things are very important, and he used the rest of the animals for the benefit of his own. That is an interesting thing that we should remember. By the end of the novel, we observe that the pigs are indistinguishable from the human being, not only in appearance but in behavior also. They are behaving just like the human being. They are drinking, they are sleeping on the bed, they are putting on the clothes of human being, and they have started oppressing the rest of the animals. In this way, we can say that the transformation of a pig from the animal to the human being is complete. Here the story comes to the full circle when they have started behaving like Mr. Jones. It means that Mr. Jones used to drink animals that Napoleon and Squealer have started drinking. Mr. Jones used to sleep in the bed. Squealer and Napoleon have started sleeping in the bed. Mr. Jones used to wear the clothes. Now they have started wearing the clothes. And the important thing is that Mr. Jones used to walk on the two legs. And in the same way, Napoleon have started walking on the two legs with his hind legs, and that makes the circle complete. To conclude, I will say that just remember that the dream sharing by old major was an important part. Then proposing the idea of windmill was another important part, and the emerge of Napoleon as the unopposed leader in the animal farm was an important part. And the most important thing is that Squealer is playing as the mouthpiece of Napoleon, and what he does is that he tries to convince rest of the animals that whatever is happening in the animal farm is happening in the best interest of the rest of the animals. But that is not like that. All animals have understood that Squealer is just a spoon in the hands of Napoleon, and neither Napoleon nor Squealer is going to do the good for the animal farm. That the rest of the animals have understood, and they are now thinking of rebelling against Napoleon. But nobody has got the guts to rebel against Napoleon, and that is an important thing we must remember here in the novel. Thank you so much.